Sorry. Welcome back, everybody, to the Nosebleeds podcast. I'm Chris Witt, and with me, as always, is Mr. Adam Schmidt. Adam, how are you today, sir?
Couldn't be better. How are you?
But I'm doing great. It's a great day. It's a great day. It's a great freaking day, I believe, is what Bob says on Batter Up from Nelly. Just
Oh,
a great freaking day, man.
I don't know what that is, but I was thinking maybe Bob Vila on This Old
Batter Up.
House. I was thinking,
No, Nelly, no Nelly Batter Up.
hmm,
Batter up. I'm the first to swing. God, what the do with the
I
guy
was
when
never an
I
Nelly guy.
win. No, yeah,
Never an
you're
Nelly guy.
definitely. I was definitely more of a like early 2000s hip hop. You were definitely a mid to late 90s hip hop guy.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
For sure. Yeah. I was never a Tupac guy. Like people think
Mhm.
I'm crazy. I was never a big Tupac guy. I did like
Yeah.
Biggie a little bit. I mean, I liked a little bit of like Dr. Dre and stuff like that, but like
Mhm.
NWA, I never I was too didn't get into that.
Yeah.
Like Snoop, especially later Snoop though. I like later Snoop.
Oh yeah.
You know what I
I
mean?
definitely like earlier Snoop then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I mean.
Yep.
Uh, so anyway, before we get started today, we're bringing back a segment we have not done in quite a while. We have not seen a brand new Reese's, and we can't tell you how long. My dad sent us a picture of these. Haven't been able to find them. Finally found them. Chocolate lava big cup. This looks like it's got hot fudge underneath. Kind of looks a little bit like what the caramel would have been.
Yeah.
Just where the caramel was at the bottom is now chocolate fudge.
Yep. That sounds right.
Sorry,
That sounds right.
chocolate lava. Reese's chocolate lava. Um, I'm pretty excited about giving this a try.
Yep.
I'm also excited about today. So you got Shohei Ohtani, who's got 48 home runs and 48 stolen bases, trying to become the first person ever in the 50-50 club. He's already the first person ever in the 48-48 club, but he's trying to be the first one ever in the 50-50 club.
What, 2 weeks left?
Couple weeks left. Yep, not too much. I think it's definitely doable. Also today, Juan Soto hit his 40th home run, which is the first time two Yankee players have hit 40 home runs in the same year together since Maris and Mantle,
Wow.
I believe. And then what was the other thing we were going to talk about today?
We talked about football
Maybe a
picks.
little football picks. We'll figure out about that. But we've got Mike Tyson punch out for our
Mount Rushmore.
Mount Rushmore, and then we have Sam Morrill
Mhm.
for our comedy. So we got a big show, but Adam has already started and finished the first cup. Adam, what's your thoughts? But this is like leaking all over. This thing's leaking chocolate lava as I unwrap it. It's already half broke in the center where it's separated. This is intriguing. This is intriguing. You've had your first bite, your first one.
So structurally, there's maybe an issue.
Mm-hmm. She's leaking.
It's a heavy lava.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you, I think I I tasted a bit, but not a ton, honestly. It's not overwhelming. It's just another kind of chocolate,
Mm-hmm.
so it's probably not going to be, but um didn't really know what to expect though. And
It's
it's
falling apart
yeah.
in my hand.
Yeah.
Now it's warm,
Hmm.
not cold,
Yeah.
room temperature.
Yeah. Yep. It was in your pocket all day. Um
I've had it in the pocket, just waiting for today.
yep. So yeah, I'm pretty good. Let's see, we do to 10 on these, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I go I'm a 9.6, 9.7 in
Mm-hmm.
there. Pretty good.
I'm
Eh,
thinking 9.7. It's delicious. Absolutely, I would eat these. Not wouldn't be my first pick.
No, mine either.
I would still put the Reese's Big Cup, the Reese Pieces Big Cup. I'd put the outrageous bar above this. I would put the caramel above this. I
Okay.
think the caramel was better than this.
Yeah.
And then obviously just the big cup
Yeah.
is better than this
The
plain.
plain big cup.
Yeah.
Yeah. It really doesn't get that much
Mhm.
better than that. So, but you know what? I'm good with Reese's to keep trying
Uh-huh.
different things.
Keep it up. Give us more reasons to eat more Reese's.
Yeah.
And we'll continue to do it on this show.
So I like that wordplay. More reasons to eat more Reese's.
Mm.
Reasons were candy. Maybe still are. You remember that?
Mm-mm.
Reasons?
Oh, they were like caramel and chocolate raisins. It was like a raisin covered in caramel, covered in chocolate.
Oh, I didn't even
They're,
remember that it was
they're
a
like
raisin.
this big, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was a raisin
Okay.
covered in caramel, covered in chocolate, if I'm
Oh,
not mistaken.
good. I like a chocolate covered raisin.
It sounded awesome until the raisin part.
Yeah. Chocolate covered raisin's pretty good though. I like them. And a chocolate covered pretzel even more. Um,
I hate raisins.
yeah. I was just gonna say Reese's should do something with the chocolate covered pretzel, but they already have. They've got the pretzel
They've got the
in the big
pretzel
cup.
in the big cup. Yep.
Yeah. All right. All right. Well, good job on the fudge on
Mhm.
the chocolate lava. Chocolate lava big cup.
Mm-hmm.
Good job.
So delicious. Adam texted me, something's going down. What before we get into Ohtani and all that, what is going on? What is the big story you want to put out here?
Well, without saying too much about another thing, probably have some pretty big changes coming up in life in the next couple of months here.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking about, okay, I want to like make some appointments. There's no health scare or anything like that besides just getting fatter and older.
Mhm.
But um I want to over the next month or so make some appointments, do some, go to the eye doctor and go to the get one of the things was I wanted to get my car checked out, just a whole full inspection. Got over 200,000 miles on it. It's 10 years old, and I want to try to squeeze as much as I can out of this car, right? So I haven't really done like I do all the oil changes and all that. I put new tires on it, new battery a year and a half ago or so.
Mhm.
Um, but I
Shocks
haven't.
and struts.
No.
Yep.
So yeah, and I haven't had like because when you buy it, they say you got to get your 20,000 mile inspection, your 50,000, your 75,000 mile, your 100,000 mile.
And you're on 200.
I'm on 200, and I haven't done anything since like the 25,000 mile
The
inspection.
one they
right?
did for free.
Yeah, right. It's exactly right. So because the price goes up every time you got to do that.
Yep.
So anyway, I call and make yesterday. I call and make an appointment at the dealership, which I don't love to do, but I just figured that's where I got the car from. That's where I'll go. Made an appointment with service for a couple weeks from now. Just full inspection, whatever you guys would normally do on that. The 50-point inspection, 100-point inspection, whatever the number is. And okay, got it all done. Right after that, last night, I get in the car and the battery light comes on. That's kind of weird. All right, battery lights never come on, I don't think, even when I had to change my battery.
Okay.
So, all right, whatever. Drive it last night. Drive it to work this morning. Battery light's still on, but I'm like, all right, maybe I'll go. I think you can go to like AutoZone and they'll come out and test it for you, right?
Yep.
So I was thinking I was going to do that. Get in the car, go to work, get in the car to go home. I'm pulling out of the parking lot, and suddenly something happens, and I can't turn the steering wheel.
Lost power steering, lost it all.
Lost power steering.
Yeah. Yeah, your alternator was going dead, huh?
So
sorry.
That's right. So I'm like,
I ruined the story.
yanking it. And I get up to the end of the street, then you turn and you turn again, and then you get up to the light where the big intersection to get into the main, like on the main road in
You got off to
Lebanon.
the side by then, right?
No.
You're still yanking on this thing?
I'm still yanking on this thing because there's not back there. There's not a good place. I have to pull into somebody else's parking lot, another business's parking lot.
Perfect
Which
place to pull off.
could have done.
Perfect place.
Certainly could have done that.
Thought you were going to say somebody's driveway. I get that.
No, it's all businesses, with plenty of room. So anyway, I'm like kind of trying to drive it and just evaluating what's going on. And I'm thinking like, well, it doesn't seem like I can get on the highway for sure.
Yeah, definitely not.
So so I get up to like I get to the stoplight where like the big intersection is. I turn and 30 seconds later, I turn onto the highway from there. So I'm sitting at the light and it's feeling like it's really struggling now. Suddenly the screen starts flashing off and on.
The battery is
never seen
working.
that.
The battery is working by itself.
The battery's working by itself.
And
You're 100%
your
right.
battery cannot work by itself and drive your car.
That's
You
right.
cannot do it without something constantly charging.
So now all the lights on the car are on, right? And the screen goes off, the lights are on, and this thing feels like it's
shaking like a.
there was a serious moment where I thought, what if this car blows up? And that's a dead serious thing. I'm not saying that as like a funny.
Not even no. It's funny now, but yeah, I totally get it. Yeah,
I was like, I don't understand this. I've never seen any of this before. What if it just explodes? And so I call my wife and I'm like, hey, I love you, and tell the kids goodbye. No, so I drive down the street a little bit, and there's a speedway down there that sometimes I stop in to get some Reese's sticks, or
whatever kind of carrots or celery they got for you.
Whatever's 2 or 3 for $1. That
yeah.
in the speedway. So, so I make it there, and the whole time it's not very far from there, but the whole time I'm like, this is getting worse. I'm not even sure I'm gonna make it. I might be on the side of the road right here. Finally, I get there. Every turn is I'm struggling. I'm putting my whole weight into the turn, and so I pull into a parking spot. I couldn't turn into the parking spot cleanly, so I stopped because I couldn't make it. Backed it up, yanked it around, and had to yank it back in so I could get into the spot. I leave it running, and I'm like, I'm gonna call. I was pretty sure our insurance has a roadside. I don't have AAA, but our insurance has roadside assistance. So I know my dad has the same insurance, and so I called him. I was like, "Hey, we have roadside assistance, right?" He's like, "Yeah, just call them. They'll, you know." And so he's asking me what's going on. I'm telling him, and
did he know right off the bat what was?
He was like,
belt,
"Yeah."
You either threw a belt, which made your alternator not work, or your alternator's bad.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right. So he's like, well, have you tried like turning it off and turning it back on and see what it does? Said no, turn it off, turn the key, click.
I was gonna say that ain't turning back on, friend.
No, it does not. It doesn't even start to turn over. It doesn't. There's nothing. It's a couple of clicks, and it's the car going. And so, like, well, she's done now.
This is the text I got. It says I got a story. I got a good story for
it.
For
it was very shortly after this. So he's like, all right, well, probably gonna have to get it towed. So anyway, I get on the app and I figure out how to set all that up and for the roadside assistance, and they send you a tow truck and then start sending you a million texts and stuff like that. But anyway, so I get a message that says, tow truck, ETA 90 to 120 minutes.
Whoa.
So I'm sitting
holy cow.
Sitting in my car. I'm like, I got an hour and a half to 2 hours before the tow truck gets here. Okay. And and I'm like, so he even said, I was talking to my dad about what to do about getting a ride home or wherever I was going to go.
Oh, just jump in a tow truck with the guy. He'll take you wherever you take your car.
I wasn't, yeah, I've never had to be towed before, so I wasn't positive, but I thought maybe there was a chance that you couldn't do that. And my dad's like, a lot of places you're not supposed to, like they're not supposed to let you do that.
I've been towed quite a few times. Every time I jump in that truck, I'm like, hey, bro, just take me where you're taking this thing.
Yeah. So I even get a message from the insurance company that says, hey, we have like a $30 voucher for Lyft if you need it. So, but let us know if you need it and we'll start the process or whatever.
Okay, that's cool.
So, but I'm like, well, I'm going to wait and ask the guy if I'm allowed to ride with him first.
Did you have a garage you knew you wanted to send it to?
Well, yeah, so I called one of the garages, and they couldn't even look at it until next Wednesday. So I'm like, well, I already had the appointment set. at the dealership.
Take it to the
Take it to the
dealership.
dealership. It's going to cost me more, whatever. But
Yep.
so, and this is like, and by the way, the insurance company, they'll pay for your towing if you're going less than 10 miles away.
Oh,
If you're towing it less than 10 miles away. So I'm not.
And there's no dealership less than 10 miles away, I assume.
There probably is. There are plenty of places I could take it, but it's much further away from work if I take it somewhere close to work, right? Or
Sure.
further away from home
Yes.
if I take it somewhere close to work. So it's like maybe 45 minutes after I get the message about 90 to 120 minutes, tow truck pulls in. I'm like, oh, that's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Didn't have to wait. So he pulls around like the other side. I'm like in the back of the parking lot, furthest away from the building. And so he pulls on the other side, like closest to the building, sets up there, like looks like he pulls into a spot. So I'm like, I get out of my car and I'm just looking, waiting for him to come over because he has the description of my car and everything where it is. And a couple minutes goes by, he's pulling another car that's sitting at one of the gas pumps onto his tow truck.
Wrong tow truck.
That's not my tow truck already.
What a popular speedway.
I tell you. And so he pulls away with that car. And I'm like, okay. So it was about an hour and a half.
It really was.
About an hour and a half, maybe just under. And this tow truck pulls in. I'm like, okay, that's got to be my tow truck. He pulls up to the gas pump, gets out, starts pumping gas.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the second tow truck that's not my tow truck?
That would be crazy.
So he's pumping gas. He goes inside. And when he's inside, I look on the side and it's the company that's supposed to be there.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, this has got to be the guy, right? He comes back out. I start walking over and I'm like, you here for me? And he just turns and looks away, doesn't answer, goes over, finishes his gas stuff. And I'm like, yeah, but this has to be him, right? So he turns back around. He's like, hey, how's it going? Like he didn't even notice me when I asked him. Yeah. So anyway, ends up being a great guy, super cool guy.
Hard of hearing, probably, maybe, because he's
Yeah.
got to work around these large
Maybe
things. That's got to be what it was.
Maybe. So he comes over and brings the jumper cable thing, like the you know, like the automatic jump thing. You don't have to set your car up. It's just a thing that'll shock it into place. The AED for the cars. So he comes over and pops the hood and he sets that thing up. Or first of all, he opens the hood. I don't know why I didn't think to open the hood. I didn't. So
what were you gonna do?
I don't know what I was gonna do.
So what were you gonna do?
But as soon as he opens the hood, I see he's like, yeah, look at your it's corrosion all over the battery. I'm like, what? I did not expect that. So anyway, he's like, yeah, you got your batteries messed up or whatever. I'm like, it's not that old a battery. Why? How could that? So he, takes off the things on the battery and the terminals and
Scrapes them down.
Scrapes them down. He's got the special little tools for it and everything.
Special little wire brush.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like shaped exactly for those
okay,
things. You know what I mean?
Okay. I was gonna say he's got a special wire brush.
Yeah, but they're like two different
circles.
ones. They fit perfectly on the thing. Anyway, so he cleans them up, blows them off, and sets the jumper cables on there. He's like, started it up. Okay. Maybe it's not as bad as I thought or whatever. But he's like, yeah, but you got that same device measures like
how many amps that it's given out and what it's returning.
And so he's like, if this light doesn't go up to this green light, there's like a series of lights. If it doesn't meet that green light, that means it's your alternator. And it got up to like the second yellow light or whatever. He's like, yeah, see, it's your alternator is not charging your battery and all that kind of stuff. And so I'm like, oh, all right. So he's like, you really want me to tow this all the way to that dealership? He's like, an alternator. He's like, on some cars, you got to take apart the whole engine, take apart the whole thing, and because it's hidden unders. He's like, it's right there on your car. He's like, I can fix this for you in 20 minutes. I'm like, really? And there was a Firestone right across the street. He's like, you ever go over to, he's like, I can tow you to the Firestone and right here.
Yeah. And it'll be better than going there. Yeah.
And, I'm like, well, they were getting ready to close anyway, so they wouldn't have been able to do anything with it today.
Sure.
So I would have had to go 45 minutes back up there
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow from home. So anyway, I was like, just take it to the dealership. And by the way, he's looking at it and everything. And he's like, so he takes the jumper cables off. He's like, it's gonna quit in like less than a minute because it was just
Yeah.
still running. He's like, it's just gonna quit. So it did. And he's like, he said, he's like, I have another tow after this. Um, I would much rather fix your car here than do that second tow because it's really far away. And I'm like,
Let's
oh
go.
man. So I was like, man. And then as he's saying that, he goes, is that from your car? There's this massive oil leak suddenly. So he's like, oh, yep, there it is. There's a hose coming from like where you check the oil where the dipstick is,
Yeah.
like going down like across and then like down, and you can see down there, and there's like it's cracked or broken or something like a hose
Probably
is.
when you were shaking like a son of a gun and all that stuff, it might have came loose. Over there. Who
Maybe,
knows?
but it wasn't doing that until
Sure.
after he started messing with it. So I'm like, and there is a pool of oil just spilling onto the
Oh boy.
onto the parking lot. And I'm like, whoa, yeah, that is me. And I wasn't doing that before. And so he's like, yeah, maybe the hose blew when when we started it back or whatever. Like, okay. Well, he's like, well, now you got a different problem.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh boy's like,
okay.
well, I can't do all of this.
Yeah. But he did say, he's like, he's like, I can fix all this. The tools I would need to do all the alternator stuff, I don't have with me. He's like, we would have to go get a couple of tools and then I could come back here and do this. He's like, or I'll tow it for you, whatever you just tell me what you want me to do. And I'm like, it would cost me way less, take way less time if I just have this guy do it. But it kind of was like felt like a little shady or
Sure,
something.
yeah, this dude 100% is a backyard mechanic and he can probably do it and he knows he can make a couple $100 by doing this.
Yeah. Yeah. And so honestly, I probably should have just had him do that,
You
really.
didn't do it, okay.
But I didn't do it. I was like, I already talked to the people and I did. I already talked to the people at the dealership, letting them know I was coming in and all that. And the guy on the phone was even like, "Oh, you have an appointment here." I said, "Yeah, I made that appointment last night, and then this car broke down. There was nothing wrong with it before." So he's like, "Oh, geez, okay." So
Imagine if it was a day earlier and you would have got that appointment in before this happened.
well, the appointment
Would've
was
been good.
in.
No, I mean, but if it was if you had done it just a day earlier, got there a day earlier before it all went down.
Oh, I had the appointment and it went through and everything. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep, you're right. That'd been nuts.
Mm-hmm.
So
Never would have known, but anyway.
yeah, yeah. But so anyway, I'm like, let's just go ahead and tow it there. And so I said, he gets the key and he hooks the thing back up so it can run.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets in there and the thing, so with the hood up, he backs it out of the spot, lines it up with the truck. He like lines his truck up first, then he backs my car with the hood up out of the spot and lines it up with his truck, and then puts his thing down, his lift down,
Hood still up.
and then gets back in my car with the hood up, drives it up the ramp. I'm like,
Put that down, dude.
yeah, I'm like the whole time, like, okay, he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. He does this for a living. He knows what he's doing. So he gets it up there, gets it all strapped in and everything. And I was like, he's like, what do you he's like, you have a ride or I said, well, I was gonna ask if I'm allowed to ride with you. He's like, yeah, come on. I'm like, he's like, I'm not really, he's like, we're not supposed to let anybody ride with us, but you're fine. Come on.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, thank God. I said, I don't want to get you in trouble. He's like, no, it's my truck,
Yeah.
but it's the like insurance thing,
Yeah.
the liability they don't want. So he's like, but you're fine. It's cool. So I was like, oh, thank God. So then I didn't, I was gonna probably take a lift from home or
Right.
from there home, but since I was going to
It's gonna
Coleraine,
cost you way more than $30. I
yeah,
can tell you that.
yes, yes. But since I was going to Coleraine, which is where the dealership is, man, my dad was, he would have come out right away and
Right.
helped me out or whatever, but he was watching two of the grandkids. So he's like, but Jen will be home in a little bit. He's like, let me know what's going on, and if
Yeah.
I need to pick you up from somewhere, fine. So by the time I got to the dealership, or like we were leaving to go to the dealership, he called me, and I was like, all right, we're leaving now. He's like, all right, well, she's home. I can meet you
Mhm.
out there. So anyway, so it worked out pretty well.
Nice.
The guy took me to the dealership, dropped the car off. Um, and then my dad got there like 5 minutes later as I was filling out the thing to put the key in the slot and all
Yep.
that. So anyway, and then my sister already came through. She let me borrow her car.
Oh, nice.
They have an extra. So
Sweet.
yeah. So I drove her car over here tonight,
Nice.
and I was gonna work from home tomorrow anyway, so I don't have to drive it all the way out there.
Yeah. And they'll probably have it done.
I hope so. They'll call me and tell me there are 6 more things done that need it.
Well,
That
here's the
need it.
deal. Yeah.
Or they will tell me, boy, this car is 200,000 miles, it's 10 years old. Tell you what, the new Corollas just got in here, buddy. You ought to take a look at these things. They're pretty nice, and I can make you a deal.
Yeah,
I imagine something like that. I haven't, but
give me a just give me a new oil hose and
yeah.
and a alternator,
Alternator.
please.
That's right. Yeah. So I'm sure it will cost me a little more money, and they might try to swindle me into something else. But hopefully not. And hopefully I get it taken care of, and they can do the rest of the inspection that I was going to get anyway
Yeah,
on
while
there.
you're there.
And so I'll just get it done tomorrow instead of 2 weeks from now.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow, you had a day, bud.
It was a day.
You had a day.
Right.
Thank God you're working from home. But 2 days, right? Thursday
2
and
days.
Friday?
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. Got my 3 days in the office done.
Good.
So yeah.
Nice.
I'm
Nice.
good.
Good for you, brother.
Yeah.
That sucks, but good for you.
It sucks. It could have been way worse.
Oh yeah.
Could have been worse.
I've had that happen to me, but my was it the serpentine belt, whatever the main belt is, it shredded and flew off. And while I was driving down the road, and I heard it, and then all the lights start coming on. I'm like, oh, we're in trouble now. And then I lost power steering. I had a customer with me,
Oh my
and I
God.
was like, I'm not sure what we're gonna do here, bud.
Oh.
We're going to
Was that
lunch.
on like the last truck you had or something?
No, that was
a
on
long
the
time ago?
little Fiesta I first. Oh, this is 10 years ago, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, I had this little tiny Fiesta. I hated that thing. It was a stick shift.
Oh,
I got
geez.
the cheapest car that Ford makes.
Wow.
It had automatic, or it had hand windows.
Yep.
There was a manual transmission. I got everything as low and cheap as you possibly could to buy a brand new cheapest car I could get. Only brand new car I've ever had. Myself. My
Wow.
wife's had a few, not me.
Wow.
Yeah. So there you go.
Huh.
But I know that's the only reason I had an idea what it was, because I've had that happen to me before.
Yeah. That was crazy. I was like, am I going to lose control of this vehicle on
You
the
won't
street?
lose control of it, but you also won't be able to turn it. You'll
Yeah.
have control because it's going one way.
Yeah.
It's just right there.
Right.
Imagine like back in the day before there was power steering.
Oh,
That's how I had a buddy, Tom Ramstetter, had this little white, I think it was a Neon or something like that. I remember it was a Dodge Neon, maybe. It was this little white car, and it didn't have
that's a cheap
power
car.
steering. Didn't have power steering. And we were in high school, juniors, seniors, whatever was his car that he had. And like watching him turn, like, oh boy, I tried to drive that car one time and I was too weak. I couldn't do it. I weighed 115 pounds. Like I could not drive it. I could not turn the wheel. Now, once you start moving, when you're driving decent, then it wasn't bad.
Mhm.
But like when you're just going slow and you're just,
The weight of the car is on the tires.
Yep.
And yeah.
That's impossible, bro.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I took my in-car classes in a Dodge Neon.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Nice
That's right.
little piece of garbage.
Shout out Stanley's.
That's right. Shout out Stanley's. There's a Stanley's right down the road from you now.
Is there?
Yeah. Yeah. You probably pass it every time you come here.
Maybe.
It's right next to the New York Pizza or whatever it's called. NYPD. Yeah.
That's right. Yep.
Mhm.
I know where you're talking about.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Pretty nuts.
What an intense day.
Yeah. And weird timing.
Boy, you
Weird
ain't kidding.
I'll tell you, it was a kind of a fun drive. Because I got to know the truck driver a little
Yeah.
bit, and he was a cool guy.
What did you talk about?
So I forget how that even happened, but he brought it up the first thing, it was like he said, when he was a Mexican guy, he's like when I go back to Mexico, I've learned like all the like the cheapest way to do it. He's like, I can take a bus from when I come back, I take a bus from Mexico City to San Antonio, and then a flight from San Antonio to Cincinnati's real cheap. And he's like, I figured that out over the years, and I forget. I think he just volunteered that as the first thing.
Yeah, like,
I
hey, this is
forget
what
what.
I do, man. I'm from yeah.
Yeah,
Like I'm legit from Mexico, but I'm not
yeah.
just Mexican. I'm legit from Mexico.
He is, yeah, and so he was telling me like, and then I was like, yeah, I always wanted to go to San Antonio. I've been to Austin, right
Hmm.
close by, but didn't get to go there. He's like, oh yeah, I really like San Antonio, um, and so he
Bus
was
station's amazing.
the San Antonio bus station, yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a statue of Greg Popovich
Yeah,
there, and
yep,
yeah.
yep.
Um, so anyway, he was telling me that, and he was talking about he's like he was like, yeah, he's like, I don't go back very he's like, all my kids are here now. I did all the paperwork for them and got them over here, and um he's like, but he's like, I just don't go back as much. He's like, it's so crazy. He's like, the cartels there are, they have too much control. It's too dangerous.
Yeah, they just shoot up random places because somebody's there they don't like. So they shoot the whole place up. They don't care.
Yeah, he's like, it's out of control. He's like, sometimes he's like, I have a brother in Cancun. I'll go down there. And I said, is that safer? He's like, yeah, Cancun is. He said the cartels are there too, but it's
They make
Cancun is.
so much money off tourism that they probably they don't want to mess with that.
Yeah, and he also said the military, like there's a military base or something that
Oh, okay.
protects Cancun
I got you.
more so than Mexico City or something like that. So anyway, so he was telling me about that, and he was, and so I asked him how long he had been here and where else he had lived and stuff like that. And so he's lived in Corpus Christi and North Carolina, South Carolina, California. And I said, "Where's your favorite place?" He's like, "Here, Cincinnati's the best
I mean,
place."
obviously.
Yeah, and I was like, "That's right. Oh, that's right."
Adam was really like, yeah, okay, bud.
No, he did. He said compared to the other places that I lived, this is like so much calmer, so much slower. It's like more spread out. This is
Mhm.
like the country out here. And I'm thinking, have you ever been in Westwood? That's not it's not the country, dude.
Oh, jeez.
But I don't know what part of the city he lives in, but anyway, he was like, "Yeah, I like it out here the best." And so anyway, he was talking about that, and then we were couple motorcycles passed us on the highway, and I was like, "How often do you pick up motorcycles?" He's like, "All the time, all the time."
Hmm.
And I was like, "Yeah," I was like, "They must be fun, but they seem so dangerous because people are drive crazy."
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh my God," he's like, when I was younger, I liked the motorcycles and I was into them and I got one time. He said, I laid that thing down one time. That was the last time. He's like, he's like, never again. I'm not messing with that. He's like,
Hmm.
you're right. It is crazy. He's like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what kind of driver you are. You can't trust other people to make the right moves. And
Yeah,
I'm
but
like, absolutely.
when it comes to motorcycles, there's also those few motorcyclists that just they're the reason that people don't like motorcycles.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like there are people that like where I was in traffic the other day, dead stopped right down the middle of traffic. This motorcycle comes, and in my head, I was thinking if I'd have seen him back there, I'd have
Open
kicked
the door.
over to the right. I
Oh,
just would have kicked over to the right so he couldn't get by, just a little
yeah.
bit, right? Not like tried to hit him,
Right.
but did it earlier.
Mhm.
And I was like, you know what though? Then maybe he hits me, and now it's craziness. But then I'm gonna be the one that cut off a motorcycle on purpose, and I would be, and I would tell
Yeah.
everybody I did, 100% I did, because those are the people that give most motorcycle. I bet 98% of motorcyclists obey the laws, are really cool, do
Mhm.
whatever they, don't do any of the stupid stuff. But a couple of those idiots, it's all you
Mhm.
need is a couple of them, piss everybody off. Anyway,
Yep.
motorcycles. So
Yep.
he's a motorcycle. So he laid a motorcycle down. Da, 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 da.
Yep. And he's like, my son's into him now, and he's got a motorcycle. And I told him like, or he said something like, when I got my motorcycle, my dad told me, he's like, you might as well buy a coffin too. I was like, yeah, that's crazy. And then there was a guy that drove past us, and then we kind of caught up with, who wasn't wearing a helmet. And
Hmm.
I was like, that's the other thing too. Like, if you're gonna ride one,
Did you tell him about your
you're gonna.
dad?
I
Cracked two
did. I
helmets?
actually did.
Dude,
I was like, my
cracked
dad.
two helmets at the same stop sign.
Yeah. I was like, I told him my dad wouldn't even be here if he wasn't wearing a helmet.
Hmm.
So anyway, he's like, yeah, look at that guy. Yeah, that's why I brought it up. But he's like,
Yeah.
yeah, look at this guy. So he's like, yeah, they are dangerous. I tell my son all the time, but he said he's a good kid. He doesn't, he doesn't go out drinking or anything like that. And
He just wants to go
he's
ride.
pretty safe. Yeah, he
Mhm.
just likes it because it's fun. And like, yeah, all right, that's good. So anyway, but he was a good dude, and he got me there. He let me ride with him. He kind of wasn't supposed to, and
Good. It's good to
yeah,
hear.
yeah,
Good.
yep. Anyway,
That's
that's the
all.
story.
Oh, what a crazy day you had today.
Hmm.
Man, that's crazy.
Yep, yep.
What a life you live, Adam Schmidt. What a life you live.
Lately.
Yeah, you ain't kidding, bud. Insane. All right. Well, you know what? I've got more questions about that off air. But what do we got? Let's just talk a little sports. We don't do it very well. Shohei Ohtani, 48 right now. Dan Patrick, I get everything from Dan Patrick, right? I always talk about it. Had a great little thing that he did talking about if he doesn't hit 50-50, is this season look going to be like it's not going to be as well known. You're not like it's not going to like he could go 49-49 and it will always be yeah, nobody's ever been 50, nobody's ever done 50-50, nobody's
Yeah.
ever got there. But 49-49 is insane. 48-48 is ridiculously insane.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. What's your thought? I guess let's ask that. Is it going to be a bigger deal if he goes 50-50 than it is right now if he just stopped here at 48-48?
I think there's no question. No question about it. I think
It's also two better on both.
yeah, yeah, it's not that much more.
That's what I mean.
But
It's not that much, but it is still better. So
yeah. But that's like we like those round numbers, and that's gonna be, that's what sticks out. That's what everybody's gonna talk more about it if it's 50-50. And it just sounds a lot better.
Mhm.
You're right. It is a little better, and it sounds a lot better, and it's more fun to talk about. Um, and the crazy thing is, he didn't have to pitch this year, so he just focused on his hitting, and is the best hitter in baseball.
Mhm.
Um, and I was thinking earlier, there's no reason to not think if this went the opposite way and he for some reason didn't or couldn't hit, but he could pitch. He was at full strength pitching. There's no reason not to think he could, if he's just focusing on that, he could go a season sub 2 ERA, sub 1 whip, strike out 300,
Yeah.
strike, 10-1 strike out the walk ratio, something like that. It just seems like he can kind of, whatever he wants to do,
He can do it.
he can do it.
He's so big. He's gonna steal 50 bases and be as big as he is. Hit like he hits. It's insane. It's just crazy. Um, God, I can't even fathom it. Like it's 50-50 is pretty impressive. I mean, Acuna's 70-40, his 70 stolen bases, 40 home runs. That is crazy insane.
Is that better than 50-50?
I don't think so. No, because 70 steals and 50 steals right now feels like you're a great base stealer if you've got 50 stolen bases, right? You're great. You're great. If you got 70, you're really great, but you're still in that. You're still great. 40 home runs, guys will pop 40 home runs every now and then. May never sniff it again. 50 bombs, but that's a different level. There's a select few. Was there 20 members of the 50 home run club? Like it's a select few people.
Yeah.
Lots of people have stolen, well, 50 bases, I guess, but I don't know. That's a good
The
question.
difference between 50 and 70 stolen
That's
bases
a
is
lot,
pretty big.
dude. That's a good question. And 40 and 50 home runs, or was it 30? Was it 70 and 30?
I thought it was 40.
Acuna hit 40 bombs. I
Think.
Either way,
Think so.
God, it's insane. I don't know. I don't know. It's just insane. I also heard a report that the Dodgers are talking about, playoffs and what's going to happen. And there's some small talk around that Ohtani could be used out of the bullpen to pitch after undergoing Tommy John
Thomas
and going
Jonathan surgery.
50-50.
Mhm. That would be
What if he came in and saved the
World Series.
World Series? It's like maybe we underpaid for him.
Yeah. Yes. No
Did we
kidding.
maybe underpay for this guy?
Yeah, that is crazy. Yeah, it was 40-70, by the way,
Okay.
for Acuna. Yeah, I mean, man, they they might be equally as great those seasons.
I think you could say that.
Yeah.
But because it's Shohei, he gets more pub for it. It'll be remembered differently because it's Shohei, I think.
Think so?
Acuna's got this little, kind of a great his attitude, not
Mhm.
his attitude, but
His
swagger. Yeah, that whole thing. Perfect
Yeah.
word for it, right? Um, some people love him, some people hate him, but then you've got Shohei that just comes to work, does his job, smiles, and leaves.
Yeah.
Even his team,
Nobody says anything bad about him.
his teammates were like, we had no idea he got married in the offseason. Everybody's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
we didn't even know he was engaged. Nobody had any idea. Like it's insane.
It's more fun, especially as you get older, more fun to root for the more unassuming guys, the guys who kind of keep to themselves, who
Mhm.
seem maybe even not humble, just guys who aren't
Showy.
as flashy and showy, yeah. Because it seems like they're just there to do their job and they can still have fun and everything, but
Yeah,
yeah, there's a different,
absolutely.
there's a little difference there.
That's crazy. So anyway, yeah, congratulations. I hope that happens. Like I said before, Juan Soto, like a whole like he hit the home run he hit today, 40 home runs. He also with that home run he hit, I don't know if it was today or I think it was last night. Also with that home run he hit, not only does they become the first Yankees to go 40-40, he has officially homered in every major league ballpark.
Wow.
He's like
He's in his 20s, right?
26 or 25 or something like that.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Oh.
He's homered in every ballpark.
If he wasn't Aaron Judge's teammate, he already was unbelievable in Washington when nobody was there with him last year, I guess, or 2 years ago.
2 years ago, he had a
Um,
year in San Diego.
Oh, right. Yeah, I think people would be talking about him even more, but I mean, Aaron Judge is also having a year that's just
100%.
out of this world.
There's some crazy stuff going on in baseball. There's some things that I think if people were really paying attention, there's some big numbers going on. There's some there's some players right now that are going to go down as some of the greatest players to ever live.
No question.
Aaron Judge is slowly putting himself on a level of a very select few. Like you're starting to hear when they say numbers that he's done and that he's doing, it's like Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle, or Babe Ruth, and that's it, or
Yeah.
Barry Bonds and Babe Ruth. Like it's some crazy names that he's being thrown out there with.
Yeah.
Um,
Only Ted Williams and Hank Aaron have ever.
yeah, exactly. You say something like that, or yeah, Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, Ted Williams are the only ones to have ever done. Yeah, that's insane. So, and then you got Shohei, who's doing things that nobody has legit done since
George Herman Ruth.
the Herm.
Mhm.
The Herm. I think I'm gonna start calling him the Herm.
I think that's a way better name than
The Babe. It's so silly.
Yep.
Uh, yeah. So
The only trouble with that is that's what I call Herm Winningham.
yeah,
The Herm.
the Herm.
So
Yeah, I'm big. So when Coach Edwards calls me, that's what I call him too.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Herm.
Herm Edwards.
Yeah.
Love Herm Edwards. I haven't heard him in a while. He's coaching at some small college or something, right?
He
Where's
was at
he at?
Arizona State and got fired. I don't know
Yeah.
where he's at right now. He's on Dan Patrick not that long ago. Imagine that. I can tell you if he's on Dan Patrick. I can tell you that. Anyway, super cool. Gosh, I apologize for that yawn. Schmitty, what do you want to do? Do you want to get into a little football picks? I don't really care if we do, to be honest with you.
I'm good if we
All right,
don't.
perfect. Uh our Mount Rushmore is this is classic in my head. This is one of the coolest things that you've come up with.
Thanks.
Well done.
Thank you.
Well done. Watch some videos. So this is the Mount Rushmore of Punch Out characters.
Did you? Okay, these might have been. I was gonna say, did you do like the new age kid thing and watch a video of someone playing?
No.
Okay.
Well, it might. I guess it was technically. Yeah,
Kind
I
of,
guess
yeah.
so. Yeah.
But there was some sort of narration with it or something, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So what's my favorite one is the hippo.
King Hippo.
Bang, 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 bang.
Yes.
His big old mouth.
Yeah.
Oh
He
my
has a
gosh.
suddenly appearing and disappearing bandage on
Yep.
his.
Uh-huh. Oh my gosh. So super great. So did you go in? I just did the original. I didn't go into Punch Out 2, even though there was some good ones in Punch Out 2 as well.
Oh no, yeah, I didn't do Punch Out too.
Like you had let me go back to the one what I was looking at. Some of the ones from Punch Out 2 that I didn't get into. Um hold on a second here. As I pull this through.
I never even played Punch Out 2, I don't think.
Um
Maybe once.
Piston Honda. You remember Piston Honda?
He was in one.
Oh, he
was
wasn't
the first
one.
Yeah.
Who's the one? Oh, Dragon Chan. Dragon
Yeah.
Chan's who I remember from the second one. Yeah, Piston Hurricane was in the second one.
Oh,
Piston Hurricane.
knockoff. His
Yeah,
cousin.
Masked Muscle was in the second one.
Oh.
Masked Muscle. So yeah. Anyway,
I was
Mr. Dream was Mr. Dream in the first. No, Mr. Dream was in the second one.
Yeah.
All right, so let's do this. Let's do this. We've got the list. We know who they all are. How do you want to start? I'll let you start. This was yours.
All right. I think maybe my number one is the funniest one to me,
100%.
and that's Glass Joe.
Glass Joe, number one,
So,
for sure.
I mean, hysterically weak.
To figure out how, like, it was a task to figure out who could beat Glass Joe the fastest.
Yeah.
How
I
fast
mean,
can you get in there and beat Glass
if he
Joe?
took you, if he took you into the second round, you're not good.
You're not good at it. You don't know how to play Punch Out. Not even a little bit.
But as I was looking at these, thinking about them, I was kind of remembering some of the. First of all, I think I'm assuming because this was a Nintendo game, it was Japanese made.
Sure.
All of these guys are almost all of them are such stereotypes.
Oh, everyone.
If this game could not be made today,
No,
it is.
No, the Russian, the bald bull, you got the great tiger, like all of them, big time. Yeah.
Yep.
Don Flamingo.
Yeah. That's number 2 on my list, by the way, because they made a gay guy. That's what he was, right?
100%.
Okay.
He had a rose in his mouth.
Yeah.
He was a ballroom dancer.
I mean, they made a gay guy, they made a very weak guy, they made a fat guy, they made a Von Kaiser was just a traditional German guy.
Yeah,
right.
Just wait, if you saw any boxing from 1920 or before, yeah.
Great Tiger was where I forget where it said he was from,
where he's from, but he had the turban.
He would, yep. Yeah, it was. I mean, these were all just such stereotypical characters. But Glass Joe is really funny, so I got him on there. Don Flamenco is also really funny.
Yes.
Because I still can't believe they just made a gay fighter. There was no question about that.
Zero question.
King Hippo is on my list.
Hippo was great.
It was just, and that was
just a big fat guy. You just hit him in the gut. You just had to hit him in the gut, and
all you had to do was knock him down. He never got up.
Couldn't get back up. But you got to hit him in the gut as he's going wow, 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 wow.
Yeah. Well, I think you had to, when he did that, I think you had to hit him in the mouth, and then he would like open up, and then you do like a bunch of them. Yeah. And then he would like on the 10th one or whatever, he would cover up, and then you'd have to do it again. Those are my first 3. And my fourth,
it's tough. You got Bald Bull. Soda Popinski, who, by the way, was like pink, which
Yeah.
is very weird.
Yeah.
Mr. Sandman,
Mhm.
Macho Man,
Yep.
Mike Tyson, Little Mac.
That's where I was thinking about
I
going.
almost went with Mac. I didn't go with Mac because you don't ever really see him. You don't see him.
Well, you see him on the in between rounds.
Sure. And when he's running and all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Because I can't make a decision on opponents, I'm going Little Mac.
All right.
I'm gonna do it. Little Mac and Doc, his trainer.
You can't take both of them.
No.
I'm taking Doc.
Are you doing it?
I am.
Okay.
I'm taking Jerome Doc Lewis.
Okay.
Yes, I'm taking Jerome Doc
He's not a
Lewis.
fighter, but okay.
I'm taking a character. Oh,
Was
did
it
we say
character?
fighters? You probably
I was
said
thinking
fighters.
fighters, but yeah,
He was probably a fighter at one point in his
you're
life.
probably right. I'm allowing that. I think you're right.
I feel like he was based off the dad from Steve Urkel. I feel like that's what they were trying to
Original
do.
Bill Johnson.
Yes. I think that's who
Carl Winslow.
they were choosing. Carl Winslow is who they were trying to get there.
They should have put him in a cop uniform.
Yes. All right, so I'm gonna go Bald Bull is on mine for sure.
He was the best looking.
I don't know.
Not
I
like
don't know,
not like
dude.
best looking in his face, but had the best body, I felt.
I always thought that what was the dude's name? Piston Honda
Yeah.
looked like a stud.
He was.
And he had a
you're right.
great head of hair.
Yeah, he did.
Bald Bull was ugly.
You're right.
Piston Honda was a good looking dude. I'm gonna go Bald Bull.
Mhm.
I already said I was taking Doc.
Yeah.
So I'm taking Doc.
Okay.
Glass Joe for sure is on mine. Like Glass Joe is gonna go down in history as the worst boxer to ever be alive.
Yeah.
He's lost more matches than anyone else in the history of boxing games. In fact, I venture to know if he could beat you if you just didn't touch anything. I wonder if he could beat you.
He can. He beat my nephew.
That's right. You told us that last week.
Glass Joe is now 1 in 70,000.
I forgot about that. Oh, poor guy.
I love the wordplay too. Glass jaw, glass.
Glass
I've always loved that too.
Soda Popinski. A great Tiger was crazy because he was like a little blurry little fella and would like
his
dance
tail
around.
was right on his turban. His
Yep,
would
when that
light
thing
up.
blinked, yep, it was time to go. Or he was about to go. That's when he was about to do his thing.
Yep.
Mr. Sandman, I remember being really hard to beat.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember Macho Man.
I don't either.
He's on all my lists that I have. It's got this dude. I don't remember him at all.
Nope, never saw him.
And I beat Mike Tyson in Tyson Punchout. So I don't remember this dude at all.
He might have only been in Punchout, not Mike Tyson.
I mean, he's on the Mike Tyson Punchout
he in there?
thing. Well, I mean, this is just a picture that somebody made a bunch of stuff on, so who knows? All right, let's do this. Yeah, was he no, because Sandman was the last one
Yeah, I saw
in regular Punchout.
a list, and they had him. Yeah, I forget. It was like a
Because they were like Macho Man before Tyson, and then Sandman, Soda Popinski, Bald Bull. I thought Bald Bull was closer to the end too.
there are two of him.
Bald Bull was tough to beat. Bald
The
Bull was
second
tough
Bald
to
Bull
beat.
was tough
Oh
to
yeah,
beat.
big
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
big time tough. Man, what am I gonna go with? It's between King Hippo. I'm doing it. I'm going with King Hippo.
Yeah.
King Hippo, Glass Joe, Bald Bull, and Doc. Jerome Doc Lewis.
Jerry Lewis.
Jerry Lewis. There you go. I mean, that's what it says his name is on this website.
I saw Doc Lewis. I don't even think I saw Jerome. Though. I love that he has a first name.
I click on, if you go down here and you click on old Doc Lewis, it says Jerome Doc Lewis is the deuteragonist of the Punch-Out franchise. I don't know what that means. Okay. He's a former heavyweight champ and is Little Mac's trainer. He's a former champ.
There you go.
Former heavyweight champ, baby.
Qualifies.
Take it. Take it. Little Mac. Go get him. Little Mac had to jump to hit half of these guys.
Yeah.
He had to jump. to punch him.
Yep. In real life, that's a very poor technique.
Yes, it is. Yes,
Don't
it
leave
is.
your feet in the box.
I don't know. The jump punch and the jump knee is pretty big in the UFC, though.
In the UFC.
The spinning punch, sometimes they're not on their feet when they do the spinning punch.
Yeah.
That looks so
So-
ridiculous when people get hit. If you get hit with a backhand spinning punch, you shouldn't be allowed to fight anymore. Like he's spinning around. Get out of the way. He's giving you extra time to get out of the way of his punch.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's coming at you from a different. You got a different look at it. Maybe that's why it's hard to avoid it.
I guess.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know.
I
Anyway,
never, thank God I never had a spinning back fist
Ooh,
thrown at me.
man, I used to practice dodging them just in case it ever happened.
That's a good idea.
You never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
You went to high school in Price Hill. You never know. when
That's
it-
100% correct.
Yeah.
Saw lots of crazy stuff. With that being said,
Mhm.
let's move on to comedy for this week.
Yeah. So
Sam Morrill. Yeah. So
I was pumped for this.
Sam Morrill, you started the last one. I'll start this. I actually took notes on this, left them in my truck. So I was just writing down jokes. I got through about the first 20 minutes and I stopped because I was like, I'm just writing down every
All the
single
jokes.
joke. I wrote down, I just like a little snippet of every single joke. Sam Morrill, it's insane. We talked about this last week. Like he's come out with like 4 or 5 specials in the past 2 years.
Yeah.
3 years. I think he's got even more in the tank. Dude he is very good. Sam Morrill is very good at what he does. He's got the tone. He's got his own unique like tone and delivery. He talks about himself, and can be extremely funny. There's a lot of sexual stuff in this one, which is hilarious. It is all very, very hilarious. God, I wrote some of them down and they were so good. He's a master at picking the correct word.
Yep.
We'll just say picking the correct word. Because a lot of these jokes, it's a word that does the whole thing.
Yes.
They're quick stories. Most of them are quick stories. He's like a storytelling comic, and he's also a comic that gets a lot of stuff out, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff, but they're all just pretty quick little stories. And I don't really know how else to describe this without my little notepad that I had all my little jokes written on. So I'll just tell you, I gave it a 4.4.
Wow.
Yeah. I did not stop laughing. This is one of those specials. I was laughing throughout the whole thing. There wasn't a pause in my laughter. I just laughed and laughed and laughed. Not a whole bunch of like maybe 2 like out loud laughs. Like not like a hard belly laugh, but like yeah, like he got me with that. A little stinker got me. The rest of them were just giggles and little funny laughters. I did the whole time. I was a huge score for me.
One of those. That's
Yeah,
good. That's
I
good.
was going through it and I was like, this was this 4.2. This is definitely a 4. I knew it was a 4. It's a 4.2. Where we at? Got to the end. I was like, the last joke probably wasn't the best one to end it on. Like I feel like he could have done better than that.
There were like 4 or 5 of them that I was like, is that going to be the closer? Is that his close? And then he had another. I'm like, I guess not. Okay,
yeah.
see what he's got.
And I don't think the closer was the best, was even in the top 10 of his jokes. But still, 4.4.
Wow, that's a great score.
4.4 Haas.
I thought this was really good. I was excited about it because he is extremely prolific and also very high quality. He's thought of by all the other comedians as like one of the best joke writers. And you're right, he does. You can tell he's really meticulous about the wording, and he famously, like Mark Norman, like those 2 guys are doing like 4 sets a night at different places. Like they go up constantly and are working on that. And that's how you get those jokes worded exactly perfectly. And then put a whole bunch of those jokes together. you just do it a lot and you figure out what works the best. And he is. I mean, he's just one of the best joke writers, and he knows how to deliver it. And he's got I always like a little bit more a guy that kind of can stand there mostly in one spot,
Mhm.
microphone in the stand or hold it, but just not a whole lot. You don't have to do a whole lot of
Craziness.
yeah,
Yeah, a lot of hand gestures, any of the motion,
mm,
physical comedy.
yep. Uh act outs. Yeah. He just doesn't do that stuff. And so it's all word. I mean, the words have to be great for it to be great.
Right.
You don't have the aid of the thing. So I love that. And same thing. I mean, I most of the jokes I was like, that's good.
Yeah.
There were a couple I was like, all right, that's probably not up to I think he's better than that.
You know, now I think about it, when he started,
Mhm.
I was like, I think the first one or two, I was probably like, maybe he came out a little too soon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, all right, maybe you could have looked, but I do remember just being in the middle of this thing going, Jesus,
Yeah.
this is good stuff.
Yeah.
The X stuff was funny. I'm just starting to remember little things now.
Yeah.
The X
Yeah.
stuff was
I,
funny.
I only wrote down a few things, but I mean, I could have wrote down way more. I wrote down the dog should suffer for what for what he wants.
Oh, when she laughed at him for answering her question.
Yeah.
Like, well, that's kind of a weird question to even come out with the start.
Yep. Guns are like babies
No, that was so good.
for a few different reasons.
Yes, that is so funny.
Um, I wrote down for emergencies only and then EpiPen.
Yeah.
Um, that was part of the gun stuff.
Yeah.
Salmon versus Panda Express. That's how I'm going to describe that. It gets a little graphic with those.
Oh, that's good too.
But yes, I mean, he had so many good jokes, just so much funny stuff. I originally wrote down a 4, and for some reason I crossed it out and wrote a 3.9.
Wow, went down a little.
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't
surprising.
know what it was that made me do that. I uh I got
When did you watch it?
I got
Did you
home
watch it today?
I got home
After all of this stuff that happened to you?
about 8:40 tonight from doing all that stuff that I told you about. I popped in, Sam. I watched it, and then I came over here.
Doesn't count. That doesn't count. That is
Yeah,
a
of
bias
course.
score. You had a terrible, terrible event
No,
of stuff that went down.
I was good. I was fine. I was happy to be able to
I just found out
sit
that
down
my
and
car doesn't work. First I just had an alternator problem. Then this dude started to like jump me. Next thing I know, I'm leaking oil. Now I'm gonna go sit down and watch comedy as I just got towed to the dealership. That I'm gonna have to probably pay 60% more than everybody else will because I took it to the dealership.
yeah.
Yeah, let's watch Sam Morrill and rate it. I'm in the best mood for that right now.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe that had something to do with
Is
it.
what it
But
is. No, 3.9. I like it. That's still really good.
it's still really good. I really did like it a lot. Um I don't know. Yeah. And I mean, I was there or higher with all of his other specials too. I mean,
Mhm.
there's no question. He's really, really good.
So good.
Um, yeah. So
I'm
anyway,
glad I randomly ran into that on Prime.
yeah.
I never would have. I just what randomly popped up on my thing.
Yeah.
All right. So now we have next week. We have to come up with a Mount Rushmore.
Mhm.
And then we also have to come up with
Comedy.
another comedy. I'll let you do the comedy while I contemplate.
Okay. Comedy this week. We're gonna go 800-pound gorilla is like this comedy.
Yeah, know all about it. Every single YouTube special says there's an 800-pound gorilla that produced it.
Yep.
So I don't know who he is, if it's Joey Diaz or who this guy is, but there's some
That is
800
the
pound
closest
gorilla.
thing to an 800-pound gorilla there is. You're right. So speaking of Joey, coming out with his debut stand-up comedy special yesterday, formerly of the Impractical Jokers, Mr. Joe Gatto.
Oh, okay. I knew there's two of them that we're trying to like do stand up, right?
Sal Volcano has been
He
doing it
does,
for
yeah.
quite a while. Yeah. Yes. I think I think James Murray also tours and does some like shows himself
Yeah.
sometimes. Um, I don't know if Q does, but they still tour together too. But Joe doesn't because he's not on the show anymore. But he's been touring his own stuff, and he just came out with a special. He is going to be here October 5th coming up, and then again March 15th, which I bought tickets for.
Nice.
Um, so I'm hoping what we watch this week is going to be different than I think it
What
will
you
be
see, hopefully.
in
Yeah.
March. Yeah.
So I went to go see Impractical Jokers at the Nutter Center, which by
Nice.
the way, the Nutter Center couldn't be a better place for a comedy special because you're guaranteed at least 4 hilarious jokes about the fact that they're at the Nutter Center.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, every time.
Sure.
The opener was really good. The opener, um, I think he said something like, "Hey, take a picture and put it on Twitter, and you can find out, you can catch me on the, tag me on the Twitter." So I did. I took a picture down there and I was like, my man, at then I tried to make a Nutter Center joke because I think that I'm half funny sometimes. And dude responded, he like direct messaged me afterwards, and he's like, "Hey man, I'll be back in town this time
Mm.
with some other guys. If super excited if you come." Then when he was coming back, he like sent another one back, like, "Hey, hope to see you at this show." I was like, "This dude is hardcore. Like he's working
Mhm.
constantly.
Yep.
It's insane how work is for comedians. Like they just gotta sit on Twitter and respond to people and stuff."
Yep.
Anyway, they did a great job at stand up altogether. They had a routine and they were all in that. You could tell it was a routine. Yeah, they tried to make it look like they're just up there kind of jib jabbing, but no, it's 100% a routine. You could tell by the way they timed it. Like there was a couple times where there was a millisecond off on timing and it just felt weird, but they were good. They were good. So I'm excited to see this. This will be I'm see what this is like.
Yep. Yep. I'm excited too. I always felt like he was the funniest one on the show,
Yeah.
but that's a
Which one
different
is he?
thing.
So I know Murr's a little bald guy.
Yep. Joe is balding guy, little belly.
Tallest one. Feels like the tallest one. Balding. You say balding. I know it's not Murr and he's balding. I know you're
Yes.
talking about.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I thought he was by far the funniest one, honestly.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
The one guy with the longer hair that sometimes has longer hair. He thinks he's the funniest.
I think so.
He thinks he's the funniest.
I like him, but I don't think he's the funniest.
And the other guy, the Italian guy or whatever he is, Sal, he's the one that laughs the most.
Yeah.
He laughs at more things and has to I feel like him and Murr have to do the dumbest things. They make them do the dumbest things.
Yeah.
I feel like
Maybe, yeah. Yeah. I love Sal. I'm such a big fan of his. I love Sal.
So who are we watching?
Joe Gatto.
Joe Gatto. All right,
Yep.
the balding one,
Yep.
not Murr,
Not Murr.
not Murr,
That's
the
right.
other balding one.
Yeah.
All right, I'm excited about this. That sounds good. So I want to try. I really wanted to try to figure out a way to keep Nintendo going.
Mm-hmm.
We've done Nintendo games. It's been a while, but we've done Nintendo games. And I just can't think of a Nintendo game that would be easy to. Ooh, I've got one. I've got it.
Favorite obstacles in Paperboy?
So first off,
Dog.
why was there always that scary house?
Skateboarder.
I was scared of the scary house.
Yeah.
I was scared of it. And
Yeah.
nightmares of the
That's a
scary house.
Yeah.
So number one, Tecmo Super Bowl or Super Tecmo Bowl?
Tecmo Super Bowl.
Is that what it is?
I think so, yeah. Tecmo is the brand or the maker of the game or
I've
something.
always called it Super Tecmo
Super
Bowl, and
Bowl.
people tell me all the time that I'm totally wrong.
Yeah.
You remember the first one was just Tecmo Bowl.
Tecmo Bowl?
Mm-hmm. Do you remember Tecmo Bowl?
I'm gonna say yeah, but if there's much of a difference in the two, then I probably can't tell you what the difference was.
It's the year it came out is basically it. So Tecmo Super Bowl, or as I like to call it, Super Tecmo Bowl, feels better. I mean, you have Tecmo Bowl, and you just made it better, so it became the
Super
Super
Tecmo
Tecmo
Bowl. I
Bowl.
see what you're saying.
We are gonna go with the Mount Rushmore of defensive players on Tecmo Super Bowl.
Okay.
I mean, I've got a list in my head like right now.
I've got a list of one guy in my head.
Oh, I've got three that just jump right now. I I mean, obviously LT was
Yeah,
insane.
he's the
Derek Thomas was, I feel like Derek Thomas and LT were the best. But there's a couple nose guards that were unstoppable.
Tim Crumry.
Uh I don't even know if he was in it, but he would have been. But Ray Childress, remember Ray Childress for Houston?
Uh-huh.
He was unstoppable in that game.
I don't know if I knew that. I felt like I was always either the Giants or
You
the
could press
Raiders.
down and dive. Like if you got it on the snap, you could get around the guard and sack the quarterback before he took a step.
Yeah. I remember that.
So anyway, yeah, I think I want to do defensive players or running backs. Which one do you want to do?
Oh,
Which one do you want to do?
Oh.
Running backs, or
I
I'll let you decide.
I would be more familiar with the best running back.
All right, let's do running backs then.
Either one.
No,
Either
I'll
one
do
you want.
running backs. We'll do running backs. I
Running
like it.
backs?
Yeah, we'll do the best running backs in Tecmo Super Bowl
I can
or
probably come up with
Super
mine
Tecmo
now.
Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
All right, perfect. So we've got Joe Gatto
It's called messing with people.
messing with people
It's on
and
YouTube.
and it's YouTube. Yeah, because it's a
Joey
Joey Diaz
Diaz
special.
Yeah.
Yeah. 800-pound gorilla. And then we've got Super Tecmo Bowl running backs.
That's gonna be awesome.
I'm excited. I'm excited to come up with all of them because I mean, San Francisco had two.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. So yeah, we'll just go with that until next week. Don't forget to turn your headlights on.